This is Donna, your theory godmother. Just kidding. Oh, just kidding.
So in this video I wanted to show you how to create this radio repeating memory kind of thing using VCV Rack. It's a really nice, easy setup that you can do for free. So I want to show you all the parts that went into it. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with making a new patch in VCV Rack. If you open a new patch, you see this is the standard setup. The first thing you want to do is make sure here in the output that you choose a device that you want to get for output. In my case, that would be the headphones. And now if you press letters on your keyboard, you should hear something. That's because we have a MIDI CV that's connected to my keyboard that goes into a voltage per octave, so a sound, and that triggers a filter. But we want to do something completely different. So make sure you have VCV Rack first, then make sure you are logged in here, and then you click Manage Plugins. If you don't have a login, first make one. You can make one easily on the website, and then you want to search for two plugins that you want to do. The first one is the ones from Mutable Instruments, but they're called Audible Instruments in VCV Rack. So search for that, and you can subscribe to Audible Instruments, as you can see here, and you get all of these. Those are the first ones you have to do. The second one you have to do, and I have to check a little bit for the ones that I have. As you can see, there's a bunch of them. The second one is the sampler I'm using, and I think mine is called Radio Sampler. I have to check. Okay. Let's do it another way. So what we can do here in plugins, the way I found it at least, is to go to the free ones. How come this looks very different from what I was searching for? Okay, and here I want to look for sampler. And scroll. This is the one I want, from Modular 80. So you can also search for Modular 80, but I sort of forgot the name. So this is a sampler pretending to be a radio, which is really nice. And while we're at this page, what you can also do is go to the website. This is really important actually, because you want some samples to be downloaded. So you go to the website, you go to radio music, and then here you go to this GitHub page, a collection of sample packs. And the ones that I use is this Answer Phone sample pack. So I downloaded those and I put them in a folder. And that folder I'll show you. Give me a second. So this is my folder, and I have radio samples here, and this is the Answer Phone samples. And you see they're all numbered here, and they're all in this weird raw format. There's a bunch of them. Cool. So those are the two plugins that I have. Once I have these in VCV Rack, I probably have to quit the application, and then it's going to say your plugins are out of date. You reset that, and then you have to quit it again. So there's a bunch of quitting before you can actually go and do this thing. So now what we want to do is make the system that I just showed you. So the first thing that we're going to do is take this radio plugin. So you can hear on the sidebar, there's a bunch of filters. So what I did here, is right click, and then you can see all these modules here. So I'm going for sampler and select the radio music sampler, and then I can put it wherever I want. I'm gonna put it here. And to load the samples into the samplers, I right click and choose set root directory. And now I can hunt for that directory that I just showed you. So it's, in my case, desktop, escape game, answer phone. Okay. And you see that it's already playing, so it flickers this light. But because this is not connected to anything, we don't hear anything. So we're going to take that and put it in the output, like here. Oops.
Has been seen by any potential buyer. But
right. So now we hear the output.
Who is a friend of mine,
and we can switch the station. And it's like changing the sample, right? Okay, let's remove that for now. The next thing we want to do is use this other plugin, which is the one from Mutable Instruments, which is called the Texture Synthesizer. And it's actually a remodel of Clouds by Mutable Instruments, which is this amazing granular synthesizer that you can buy for real, but it's in VCV Rack, so this is the physical module. And I'm looking where it is. This one. So here it's called Texture Synthesizer. So basically we want to take the output of this radio sampler, move it to the input, both the left and right. And the best way that you can do it is go from the output to the input here. So this way, so far from the input to the output. And then we basically want to skip the mixer. And we just want to go to the output here, like this.
Left a couple messages, and I have to get a hold of him, but
I'm going to turn the sound down a little bit. So now it's playing this specific sample. Now, and there's a bunch of things that I can do. So the texture synthesizer, what it does is it takes pieces of the sound that comes in into its buffer, and it can keep playing those. So right now we hear just the plain sample. But now if you move this up, we only hear the sound that the texture synthesizer moves. Now, to actually hear parts of that, we have to change the density here. So what it does is it takes little samples, little snippets of that station and puts them in. So here, those are random. And here they're in order. You can change the texture. That's how the samples get smeared out. The position. So where in the sample. And by changing the blend, what you get, you see a blend between the original samples and the other samples. So the original and the ones that come from the texture synthesizer. There's something weird going on with the texture synthesizer that you have to be aware of, is that this has 4 different modes. So what that means is I can switch with this button, I can switch to the different modes. So now you see that the color changes. This is now the stereo spread button. If I click again, this now becomes a feedback amount. If I click again, this becomes a reverb. So if I want to have some reverb, I can enable it. Now if I click a last time, I get this dry width. So this is like the first parameter here. So I'm going to go a little bit more to the sample here, play with the position, and I can freeze a sample here. And now I keep playing with that specific sample. The pitch also changes the sample up or down. That's it. There's a bunch of things that you can do to make this work automatically. You can add an LFO, a low frequency oscillator. Let's turn this off. To take any of these parameters and automatically move them. For example, the position or the station. So now it's changing which station, which sample you hear all the time automatically. Okay, that's it. Have fun with it.